This is the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. This week, we're going to run Hammer Station, and while we do that, we're going to talk about 5.10.1, which released today, and for some definition of release, which also, in the tradition of all software development under a deadline, must have at least gotten a clean compile, which meant they shipped it. And we'll talk about what that means for us today. This broadcast astromech today is EPC 279. And playing alongside me is Seema. Yo, Seema, how's it going?
Yo, I am here. Yo, where is Seema at? Right here.
Yo.
Um,
Where are the babies,
that's
yo?
a reference. That's a reference to our last show. Yeah, we had fun on Ord Mantell looking for the babies. But yes, so tonight we're recording on a Tuesday night, which is our want. So we just finished up MFN, which we had a really cool MFN night. I had a lot of fun. We did TFB and we did it through to the end, which we have done before, but it isn't the norm to get all the way through the last boss. So kudos to everyone who came tonight. We had a full I think we had 15, but it was that I never realized how much easier that last boss is in TFB with 16 people because the anomalies are just a lot easier to get them all killed. So
yeah,
I think that contributed a lot to one-shotting last boss. And we had to one-shot him, right? Because otherwise, we wouldn't be able to finish because we do have a hard cutoff because we have this podcast to come to and also because we respect people's time. But first is the podcast thing.
But still, great run, especially because we had people that had never done it before. So we did instruction, we told the story, and we got through it. Textbook.
Yes, we did. It was textbook. And we recorded last week on Thursday, so we've already talked about what we did on Thursday, which was to be on the Working Class Nerds podcast instead of doing our ops, which was a fun night.
That's right.
I did my requisite OSIS dailies this week, and by requisite, I mean for me that I completed the world bosses on my mirror characters, which is my Merc and my Commando, and the 10 quest weekly thing. And the reason I do it on those two characters is because those are the two that I play the most because I use them in ops, not because I'm trying to game the system and somehow gear them faster than they should be. It's just how I play. So that was pretty much my week as well. And also doing Conquest. I did Conquest on 4 characters, I think, last week. But this week, because last week we were doing a large, this week we're doing medium. So I think I'm going to take and just do probably 2 characters this week. So that'll be my time in SWTOR. How about you, Max?
I had a good weekend. I also did Conquest on 4 characters. I did OSIS 2 through 10 dailies, probably on at least 3 characters, if not 4 characters there also. And then I got a bug. Not a bug like 5.10.1, which we'll talk about very soon. I decided that I'm not getting my 252 gear fast enough. I keep getting...
Oh, you got a bug, like a bee in your bonnet.
I got a bee in my bonnet and bats in my belfry. I decided I was going to do an extra thing, which was I'm getting too many relics I don't need, and I'm getting implants first before I get any gear pieces. So even when I've been doing both my commando and my mercenary, maybe not every week since launch. I think my mercenary I did every week since the new gear in 252 gear came in. I've done OSIS every week, but maybe not on my commando. But still, I only have 4 set pieces. Now, I haven't used any of my crystals yet either, which I could. But I wanted to just keep getting the random pieces, to use set pieces, and use the crystals to upgrade those set pieces to 258. Anyway, I said, I've got this level 65 DVL character that I've not touched since it hit 65 for DVL. What can I do with that? And the answer was, so I started this Sunday morning, and I had some extra time. And this wasn't the only thing I did on Sunday. I worked out, ran some errands, did some other things. But Sunday alone, I leveled from 65 to 70. I finished all of OSIS, so I skipped everything else that I hadn't done, and I went directly to OSIS. I did all of the Osa story, plus I did all of the weeklies. So I did the world bosses, I did the 10 dailies to all on Sunday to get the weekly. I even did the timed weekly, which was 8 medals in PvP, and got a couple extra crystals that way. And then via all of that, along the way, I had to do a couple things on the side, but I hit command rank 28 by the time I was done, and hit my 16k of conquest points to get my personal conquest target on that character, all on Sunday, which I was pretty pleased with. That was a nice little adventure. I cranked all of that out, and then I opened up my 10 10 10 daily artifact crate for 252 gear piece and got another implant. But that's okay. It needed an implant because it had like a 230 implant that it was sitting there from level 65, or maybe even lower than, maybe like a 228 implant. So he needed it anyway. That's fine. I've gotten like across the 3 characters, I've gotten 5 implants and 1 headpiece or whatever it was.
I have gotten many implements
Imp-
also.
implement, implement, babby, yo. So that's what I did.
Implamps.
But I was glad to do that because it was still an adventure, and it's the journey, not the destination. Am I right? No, I'm not right. Where's my 258 gear? Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the news.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
Well, first up, we did get 5.10.1, which was, and we're going to talk through the patch notes in detail, but it did ship today. So we did get the patch. The server went down this morning. Everybody got patched up, and we got our update. But that's not all. We did get a few known issues that were part of it too, didn't we, Seema? What are those?
Yeah, so yeah, there's a few. The ones that Eric pointed out though yesterday were that some of the missions on Osis were not rewarding Genosian power cells. Oh, when they should be. In some cases, Jace, Malcolm, and Asina are both displaying as being killed by the player. So, in other words, if you made the story choice or jumped ahead in the story and it made a choice for you, now both of those choices have been made.
I guess. Again, part of that
In some
problem
case,
with that Schrodinger's universe that we live in.
yeah, more stuff like that is bound to happen. In some cases, the Sith Inquisitor players are unable to summon Quinn. I can't imagine who reported that though, but anyway. No, some people love Quinn, so I should back off on that.
Yeah, some people do.
Yeah.
And I don't hate him, but yeah, some people really like him. Which, yeah, that's surprising.
And if you did have a companion that was reactivated for you by the changes with this patch, you may receive an in-game mail containing their equipment. The mail is actually has a subject line of deleted character though, but your character hasn't been deleted. It's just, I don't know.
Well,
the least scary of their default subject lines that they could pick, so they picked that one.
I guess, but deleted character isn't too far off from what
did happen, yeah.
Today. So
yeah.
So those they published as the known issues.
Right.
Now, beyond that, there were unknown issues, at least unknown to BioWare. So they left out the discussion of Darth Hexid in the patch notes, and they said, "Oh yeah, I think that's fixed too." And they were checking on that. I don't know if Eric ever confirmed if the whole Darth Hexid thing is fixed, but I think it is. But weird. The other 2 big weird things happened that were relatively big. One was the whole deal of the 252, 258 set. Well, I don't have it on this character. I was going to pull it out and check it. So last night I rolled the dice, right? 252. I've been holding off. I did have those 4 pieces on my mercenary. I knew, and I used that between my mercenary and my commando. And I knew we were going to run MFN tonight. I knew I wanted to have a little extra gear so we could get quickly through with short on people potentially through TFB. So I said, I'm going to slot those 4. I'm going to roll the dice, no set bonus or no set bonus. I'm going to slot those 4 sets of 252 implements or my 248. and I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna give BioWare the benefit of the doubt. They said they were gonna fix it. We're good. Well, you win some, you lose some. So so
So did you win it or lose it?
I lost. So
Yes.
apparently the fix just eliminated all of the set bonuses on the 252 gear. So if you look at the
But in a
252,
consistent way.
they're
So,
all eliminated. Yeah. Uh,
yeah.
and so those are missing. It does not stack because they don't exist. They say that there may be a way to fix that, and we'll get to that in a second. But that's not all. That's That's not all that got eliminated. So apparently, what was also eliminated and ended up manifesting. Now they were sort of fixing some things with the companion list, but it manifested as a bunch of companions got eliminated, and a bunch of
Yeah.
other companions got their influence, no matter what it was, even if it was like level 50 influence, got their influence reset to level 1. And that
Yeah.
is relatively frustrating as well. I mean, you might have spent 4 million credits to get your companion influence up to level 50, and bam, now it's sitting there at level 1. That's not going
I
to make
yeah,
you feel too
I
good.
I think where that happened, or some people are speculating, is that if you like auto completed anything, like if you jumped ahead, in some cases you would end up with two versions of the same companion.
Yes.
Like if you level and you had vet as a companion, and then you jumped ahead, you skipped through coffee, and the game made the decision for you that you saved vet, then you could end up with two vets. And so what they did is to clean that up, they deleted the wrong vet. They deleted the vet that you got in the story and not the vet that you leveled with.
Yeah. So it's not
So
all the
not only did you
characters.
end up with a vet with no influence, you might have ended up with a vet that was unavailable as well,
Right.
depending on the story status.
Yeah, so it could have just been gone. Now, you might not be seeing this. It's not, as Zima mentioned and sort of described it. It's not all that consistent because it is a complicated situation, and it was a fix to, again, a lot of that weird, the weird state, and a lot of it's because of the whole idea of choices that matter. And I know we like that, and that, but this is one of those side effects that things get really complex, because if you want to jump ahead, well, then they have to assume some of those choices because you might or might not have then companions, or choices might or might not have been made. So depending on how all that shook out, then when they were doing the work to make that fix, well, we could speculate on what they did and how they did it in a bit. But apparently it manifested in some weird way. So there are known issues. There's these unknown issues that have manifested. There is some discussion, and we'll get into it more while we're running Hammer Station here in just a second. But tomorrow, what do we got? SEMA, at least one thing I think is getting fixed tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, so there's going to be maintenance tomorrow, and that's intended to fix the set bonus issue.
Yeah, did I just say for sure? Let me walk that back. They claim and they intend that it will be fixed.
That's the intention, right?
I'm not putting my set bonus, my mods back. I'm gonna ride it out. Who needs set bonuses?
There's not going to be a new patch for us to download. They say it's just a back end thing, so
Right.
interesting.
Yep. Baby got back end thing.
Yo.
How about guild news? What's going on in the guild before we get to Hammer Station?
So February Mega is coming up on the 22nd. Going to be doing data. Well, yes, we're going to be doing data cons. Namely, you're going to try for the one on the fleet, and then the ones on OSIS, and then after that, we will see what to do next if that doesn't consume the evening.
All right, all right. I have not done the OSIS ones yet, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And then this Sunday, a big thing for our guild, our broader guild, aie-guild.org. If you have questions, especially on the WoW side, we've done this really cool event. I've described it in the past called Amazing Race. We've done it in Star Wars, and it's modeled after the show where you get a clue, you go to that, you have to decipher the clue, find the location that it's talking about, get to that location, maybe do a little bit of a challenge and get the next clue to find the next location. You sort of race along the way and maybe get a little extra points, bonus points along the way, and it's a little bit of contest, bunch of guild members running through that contest. It was cool. It was awesome. And one of our favorite guild members, who passed away 2 years ago, coming up this Sunday, loved that too. And he was a founder of the guild. He was a leader, and he was doing this kind of thing where he was bringing lots of really fun stuff for us to do across all of our divisions. And he said, I'd love to do this in World of Warcraft. This is what we should do. Well, he never got the chance to do it. He never got the chance to do it in real life. So in memory of Ralph, we've got the amazing race in WoW that we're having as our second annual event. We're going to do it every year here on February 17th. That's coming up this Sunday. I'm probably going to be in World of Warcraft with our guild, helping out with that event. If you've got a WoW character on Earth and Ring, or if you're in AIE in any way, or you just want to check in, I'm sure there'll be streams and stuff going on in Discord. You can see it run. It's going to be pretty cool. And I think with that, we can just say hi to the chat room. Seema, do you know we got people in the chat room?
Yes, we do, and they're awesome people.
They are awesome.
Hey, chat room. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for helping out, answering questions like, can you hear me now? Which is the most important one, because a lot of times the answer is no. So thank you.
It's invaluable.
All right, so we're going to run Hammer Station. We just finished up last week. We finished up something really important that had to do with this. The babies on Ord Mantell. We did not find any, apparently. So I don't know if Olak collected all of them or bought out every single possible baby, but we did not find any babies on Ord Mantell. So we're done with Ord Mantell. That was fun regardless. We're going to cruise through Hammer Station here on the side because that's actually next in the progression. Comes after Ord Mantell, and then beyond that, I did check on my class story, and it gives me the choice of 2 planets to do next, either Terrace or Nar Shaddaa. In the old days, there were a level range for each of those, and it was Terrace that would come first, and then Nar Shaddaa that would come after. A cool thing which I noticed when I got it now is I think that the quest dialogue was always the same, where the quest giver, in this case it's the fish general that you're talking to on your holo communicator on your ship, he says you can do either one in any order, but it used to be a level difference, and you'd want to do the easier one first, because sometimes you'd be getting killed on the out leveling one or getting killed on the higher level one. Now though, when I look at both of them are my level, and both of them are the same level. So I'm level 25, and both of these show up as level 25. This is what Level Sync has sort of brought to us, and the story makes sense whichever order you do it. It's perfectly fine. I thought that was kind of cool. So here we are. We're going to pop over here to OSIS, and we're going to talk about 5.10.1. So the title of that we made this podcast is It Compiled. And I don't know if you've got a development background, but when I was a developer, I mean, you test, you want to test, you test your code, you make sure it works. And there's a thing called unit testing, where you're testing to make sure each of the things that you just built, each of the features and functions work. And there's a thing called regression testing, which makes sure as you've implemented new things or fixed any bugs that you didn't break anything else. And then there's performance testing and all these different kinds of tests. And I'm sure they do those kinds of things, except when you're a developer and there's a big deadline and you got to get it out the door. Every once in a while, you're trying to get something in at the last minute, and you code it up and you fix the thing, and it's not compiling because you got a couple errors in your code. And finally it compiles, and it's 12 o'clock at night, and the thing's got to get packaged up to go out the door, so you compiled, so you ship it. And that's was my guess. My guess was 5.10.1. It compiled, so apparently it went out the door and weird things happened. Now that's not really what I think happened, but I liked that title because it reminded me back of my developer days. What I do potentially think happened, and I don't know what your view on this is, Seema, but I think they do not have a mirror of production. So they've got PTS, they've got test servers. I think they stage as best they can an environment, and they do probably do a lot of testing, and they test the code and they test the features. But I don't think they have an exact mirror of production, which means there is this risk of breaking things when they apply the update to production. Otherwise, I think it'd be pretty obvious that one of the things on your feature list, which was set bonuses stacking, if like that number one bug fix didn't work when you applied it, you would know, you would see it, and it clearly didn't, and they, you know, it still went out, and it wasn't on the known issue list. So what I think the case is that they don't have an exact mirror of production. It's probably a very complex environment regardless. The kinds of servers and the kinds of implementation they need for production, they just may not be able to do that. It's my guess that they've got something close to it and everything was working there, but slight differences when you get to production, and that's where they ended up. That's the deal. Um,
I think
what do you think?
that um, I think there's possibly this is like speculation and also not blame because it's going to happen. I think there's a little bit disconnect sometimes when you're really smart programmer, like you say, and the pressure's on, you know what you're doing is going to work, but there's this layer of story and you may not understand how it's going to affect all the different layers of story because that's actually a different person who would be really an expert at that. So sometimes I think that's how we get things like the wrong companions being
Yeah,
deleted.
I think there's, yeah, but I would think, you know, so then there's what's called integration testing. I think that's when that should be getting, that should be shaking out. So then you implement your thing, you think it works, and then you should be testing it with all of everybody else's things, and all the people that own their things should be testing their thing to make sure sure your thing didn't break their thing. But I mean, something like the 252, 258 set bonus wouldn't fall under that category necessarily.
No, no, mm-mm.
So
No. I'm just thinking more of the I anticipate things like the Jace Malcolm Asina thing
yeah,
and the companion thing to just get worse and worse and worse.
right. I do too, and I think that's a factor related to just the complexity of all those paths, as you're saying, that story, and then it's not just story, it's features and code related to that story about who's where and what code gets executed when, because Jace Malcolm's alive or Jace Malcolm's dead, or Asina's alive or Asina's dead, and what companions you can have and what companions you can't have, and what companions you could have romanced and what companions you couldn't even have romanced because you killed them. Or you're right, that this,
Oh yeah.
man, that whole complexity is just got to be crazy.
Yeah.
So, um, and while we're talking here, and we're going to go through some of the actual patch notes itself as well, but I'm going to summon you, Seema, or you can actually come down here. Go to the catacombs entrance. If you quick travel to the catacombs entrance,
Okay. I see you.
I'm standing at the entrance
Yeah.
to the lair
Go
of the
ahead.
hive of the
They
mountain
are
of the
digging
queen.
themselves deeper and deeper. Yeah. They're the each time they branch the story, it's not like just a branch. It's more like, veins going across like a retinal pattern.
Yeah, it's 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 exponentially multiplying the 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 test vectors is what you end up having every time you sort of fork the story, and fork the choices. It's you're it's a multiplicative factor. It's not just additive, which has got to be crazy. That's why I'm saying, both, even just from a narrative perspective and from a technical perspective, I think they need to, like, get everything back together. They need to collapse those waveforms. They need to pull the universe back together into a single
Yeah. I mean, pretty
a
soon
single universe.
the only way they're going to be able to fix it is to just explode the galaxy
Yeah,
and like make a new one.
yeah. Roll back to chapter end of chapter 3 of your class story, and everything else was a dream.
Yes. It was a dream, and Suzanne Plachette is there.
Suzanne Plachette is there. Hey, Seema, convert the group to an ops group.
Alrighty. Nothing bad could happen.
Nothing bad could happen. Hey, these hazmat guys. I think we saw this hazmat guild when we were standing outside MFN to go to TFB earlier. They've been
Oh, yeah?
out and about. I think that was the same guild that was out
is
there.
very detail oriented of you to have noticed that.
All right, look. Hey, look. This is a purple door. I'm gonna walk into here. Might as well. Okay. So let's walk through the patch notes. We can talk more about what the problems are and what we think can and can't be done about them. 5.10.1, the key highlights, the key things that were supposed to be in there, which we certainly got because I know people have been doing it and having fun with it so far, in both in story and vet modes, are Genosian Queen Lair boss, so the mutated queen. So this is the wretched hive of the Mountain Queen. The flavor text is the Sith Empire's ruthless assault on the Jedi colony on Ossus began with Darth Malora, who created her own breed of mutated Genosian warriors to use as shock troops for the attack. But before she created her insectoid army, Malora first had to create their master and originator. Left unguarded and unsupervised, this mutated Genosian queen is now unleashing countless waves of her monstrous spawn to dominate the planet's surface. So what do we need to do? We need to go stomp that bug, which is cool. And that's where we are. We're inside the lair.
Also metaphorical.
Also metaphorically stomp that bug. Yes, because the bug fixing. All right, don't punch these guys just yet, Seema, because we know what's going to happen if we do that.
Oh, now I really want to.
Well, we will. We will momentarily. So you come in here. This is the lair. From what I heard, and if you look, it's sort of, a few different areas you just got to go through. The journey to get to the queen is just as interesting as the queen fight itself in some ways on story mode. So here's some cool elite guards. When you pull one, you get them both. I know we remember that from the PTS, which we showed a little bit, but that's what a bunch of people are doing tonight. There's a lot of pickup groups on Ossus that are going through it and doing it, so that's going to be cool. We have not done it yet. We'll probably talk about it more in detail. Hopefully we'll get to do it this week, and we can talk about it in detail and spoil the strats for you next week, but we won't do that tonight. Also in 5.10.1, ranked PvP season 10. Oh, I do want to go back to the Ossus base for the next one. The next update point after this. 5.10.1 brought us the end of season 10 of PvP and the start of the preseason for season 11. So season 10 is over. The rewards are going to be going out for that. The currency that you can use to buy the rewards, if you did get ranked PvP for season 10, if you were a best of the best and you're getting one of those titles associated with that, all of that will be coming soon. Season 10 is over. Season 11 is going to begin in a few weeks, so be ready for that. What about the next one, Seema? Do you want to talk about that next one? Because that's what I want to go to the base for to take a look at. Because I don't know exactly how it works.
I'm just. It looks like /follow is fixed.
That's skipping down a bit.
Not in the patch notes, by the way.
That's skipping down a little bit,
anyway.
but yeah, no.
Anyway,
it is,
but yes,
that is in the patch notes. And yes, that is quite important. It wasn't the top. That's not what they advertised on. Maybe they should have. Okay. I think Seema would have, bought that for $1. But
yeah. So Masterwork. I think you're referring to the item about Masterwork weapons.
Yes.
Players can now expand their arsenal with new Masterwork weapons. These can be crafted with materials acquired from the Genosian Queen on Ossus, which is the lair boss we were just talking about. They can also be purchased from a vendor for monumental shards, which are the new mission reward on Ossus.
Yes. So this is new, and I didn't know this was coming. The monumental shards. So there's the rep vendor here.
I think they mentioned it. Yeah.
The deco vendor, rep vendor, which is yeah, okay, that's the decos. Here's Captain Androl. Masterwork assault rifle, which is the so this is the 258, 5 masterwork data crystals and 2 monumental data crystals to upgrade your 252 weapon to 258. Same deal for the offhand. 5 masterwork and 2 monumental to upgrade your main hand to from 252 to 258. So 2 monumental data crystals. I heard that the monumental data crystals, which this is the other thing I wanted to verify, which we can come back over here for, come from a new weekly, which includes killing the queen, the Genosian queen, on veteran mode. So let's take a quick look at that. Not the weekly heroic, not the daily. I'm talking to the quest givers here, not the do 5 in the day. Let's look at the board. Survey says weekly monumental data crystal. Here it is. Complete any of the following. Complete one of the following. Either defeat the mutated Genosian queen on veteran mode, or earn solo ranked arena points 0 out of 50. So you can do more ranked. Now, how does this gonna work? Oh, that's grouped rank for the weekly masterwork, kill the 2 world bosses, or do group ranked for 50. The monumental is solo ranked arena points, 50 solo ranked arena points, or kill the queen lair boss on vet mode. I've heard vet mode is hard. I'm sure people are doing it and have done it, but for killing the queen on vet mode, you get 1 monumental crystal. I don't know if there's any way to get more than 1 per week then per character. So it might take 4 weeks to upgrade your main hand and offhand with the monumentals. All right, I'm gonna go talk to there's the one other place where we know we've gotten crystals from before, which is this little trader, the masterwork crystal smuggler, and he tells me it's still 500 unassembled components for a masterwork crystal, not a monumental. So yeah, it looks like yeah, 1 per week if you kill the queen in veteran mode. Interesting. Okay, good to know. So that's a thing. Good. Okay. And then to wrap it up in their highlights out of the 4, so that was the Lair boss is in, ranked PvP season 10 is ended, season 11 will beginning in a few weeks. The masterwork weapons are in, which is the 258 weapons, which requires you to be killing that queen in veteran mode or doing solo ranked. And then the 4th is a double XP event, which is starting on the 19th and running through the 26th. That's going to be next week. Save your CXP packs, save your bonuses. You'll be able to double them up in a week, which is awesome. Cool. Let's see, what else do we got? I didn't know there was a problem with sending in-game mail and what it was displaying for doing attachments, but apparently there was, so that got fixed. Achievements for Isaacs on Master Mode no longer reset, so remember that was a little bit of a problem for people.
Yeah.
And then what's the next one, Seema?
Using Flalo once again works when mounted.
Yeah, it was really weird. So what would happen was while you were mounted, you would say /follow, and then you would just sort of be locked in place, and you couldn't even move your camera around. So here, now I'm mounted. I will follow Seema. Yay! And now I can get on Pinterest while Seema drags me around the map.
Yes.
Archived cartel market reputations are no longer visible. I think that's supposed to be that way by design. Yeah, I guess they're yanked out of here.
I think it's supposed to be that way, yeah.
Which is nice, especially if you're a completionist, then you can have all of your reputations be green and not be angry because you've got impossible to achieve archived reputations that aren't in the game anymore. Players will no longer see unowned mounts in their vehicles tab. Again, I didn't even know that was a problem. What else we got, Seema? We can go back and forth.
Jasa, Kimval, Nadia, and Doc can now be acquired from the companion locator terminal, which I assume is still in Odessan.
Yes, that'll be in your Odessan base, is that companion locator terminal, where you're, if you haven't acquired them back from the story, or if they're gone for some reason as part of your story, that's where you can go and pick them up and pull them back into your
Look at these two
suite.
troopers right here. They're very close.
They're buddies. What's going on there, guys? Hey, stop copying me. Mom, he's trying to copy me. What are these guys doing? So 2 NPC Republic troopers. It looks like it's like the one is following the other one's footsteps, but is like right up against him, and now it's like overlapping a little bit. That's obviously another bug. So companions are gone,
in the chat
but the
room,
NPCs are all doubled up and back. So
yes, Galahard and Starry Saver are pointing out that with another currency, it's definitely going to make gearing up easier and simpler. This is simplifying things
right.
to have an additional currency.
Right. Why couldn't they just? Well, I know why they couldn't, because they don't want you to. They want a reason for you to go off and be doing the harder content and not. But then just make the weapons drop from the boss. I don't know. Like the old days. You just
The old days are always better.
always. So did I just close my patch notes? What else is it? What else is in the patch notes, Emma? I'll bring it back up.
What else is in the patch notes? Because I was scanning down. Let's see.
Added clear error messages to a number of guild perks
Yes.
when trying to use them in PvP and master mode operations. So there are a large number of guild perks that specifically don't work in PvP and master mode operations. They will work in story mode. I thought they didn't work in, most of them didn't work in veteran mode either. But you slot the guild perk. So let's give an example here. Operations Mastery 1. Increases mastery when in operations by 4%. Does not apply in master mode. So that means it would work in veteran mode. Yes, that makes sense, because we have one of our ops teams that's progression in veteran. We've slotted this on our Imperial side, Operations Mastery 1. So that team that's doing progression in veteran on various operations to try to get them down, to go through their achievements there, they'll be able to apply this bonus. This applies to them automatically. So it's 4% extra mastery when they're in operations, which is nice. But, which makes sense, this doesn't work for master mode operations, and it doesn't work, and like some of these other ones where you're getting that kind of bonus also will explicitly call out that they don't work in PvP, typically.
Right.
Makes sense.
And also, companions are once again sorted by influence level in the crew skills window, which is nice, but I wish they were sorted that way from the companions and contacts window, which is where you have to go if you want to summon them.
Right. Yeah. So I mean that's fine for the crew skills menu, because you're going to be wanting to get to those top influence companions to be making the things that you're going to make with them. But yeah, why not do it?
Or maybe just let us summon from the crew skills window like we used to be able to.
Also, it's not hard to summon, to sort by influence level when they reset all your influences to 1.
Yeah. Oh, I should have seen that coming. So in other words, yours are all sorted by influence level, because they're all influence level 1.
I do have a lot of influence level 1 in here, but I think that's because I just didn't level any of these
No.
up.
Yeah, mine didn't get messed up that way. At least not on any character that I've logged in today. Today being the first day of that problem.
I should check my DVL character, because that was one that I definitely skipped ahead. But I don't know if I boosted influence on any of those companions. And
well, I skipped ahead on this character.
and it's still okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's not as bad
But
as it sounds.
my two companions that I had influenced up were Darth Hexit and Shay Vizsla, so they weren't story characters.
Right. So that's the best practice. In
Yes, it is. Now another reason.
Nico, Shay, I on my DVL character, the companion. Oh no, I did boost one companion on my new DVL character to 50, which was what's his name, the new pirate companion.
Yes, but I think he's also Paxton Rowell,
Yeah,
you mean? I
Paxton
think
Raw.
he's also
He should be free and
included in
clear
that.
because
Yeah.
he's not a story. He's not in that weird Schrodinger state where he might be dead or he might not be dead. He's Paxton
At
Raw.
least not yes.
So
No, I don't think he will be.
yeah, with those kind of ones, with Nico, Shay, Treek, Paxton, Reynos, Hexid, all of those that you sort of got as a present, as a gift, they can't take those away. They can't take that out of your list because that's that they're not part of the story from that perspective. So that's typically where I focus my companion influence, and the companions that I use most often these days are one from that list. And Paxton Rawl is a pretty good healer. He sticks relatively close by. I like Hexid the best typically because we've had that other problem, which I don't know is fixed yet. Has anyone been able to confirm?
No.
Not,
Oh,
we don't know.
I haven't confirmed, but I don't. They haven't said anything about fixing it, so I just assumed it wasn't.
I didn't see any of it in the notes either. But there's another problem with ranged companions where if the companion is greater than 30 meters away, what it used to do before, like a couple patches ago, is it would step it would step closer to you. It would get in range of you, so it could continue to heal you, as an example. Now, if it's greater than 30 meters and you have to step a couple meters away, or you're on like a marauder and you leap to whoever you're fighting to, if your companion's too far away, it just stands there and just stares at you and goes, "I guess you're gonna die," and doesn't
I
heal you.
mean, it happens for me with melee characters too, because like typically, like if I'm running from like I can't stop saying like if I'm running from one pile of mobs to another pile of mobs, your companion lags behind,
Yeah,
and if I start shooting as soon as I get in, Darth Hex is not going to be range, and she'll just stand there. So for me, I have to completely adjust how I play, and I had to either mount up and ride in close and then start shooting them, or I have to wait for my companion to catch up before I start shooting and make sure we're both in range, which is that puts a hitch in my get along.
yeah, exactly. Well, we can breeze through some of this other stuff. I think we hit some of the key points there that were most interesting to us. There's a bunch of other, I see, flashpoints, operations, uprisings, little fixes here and there, stuff that I wasn't really paying attention to.
And a lot of these entries are specific to the companions that we've been talking about in general that got restored slash deleted slash undeleted slash influence unfixed.
I see there's some deco fixes. The Osa's Explorer set, the Crystal Light Stronghold decorations had bad previews. Those are fixed.
And they fixed the Osis quests that were having people were complaining about not spawning, or once they were clicked they would never spawn again until the server reset,
Right, the artifacts in the
kind of a deal.
library. Exactly.
Yeah.
Which was a big pain.
Those are fixed.
I just
we've heard people tell us they're fixed.
I just wasn't doing them at all. And yes, people have sort of
No, I
confirmed that
wasn't either.
they were
I
fixed.
just skipping them.
So here, under items and economy, masterwork items released in 5.10 will now properly stack their set bonus count with lower tiered items. Not. That was clearly not fixed. Or they thought it was fixed, and however the update got applied and tested, or however it rolled out to production, it ended up not fixed at all, unfortunately. Yeah, missions and NPCs, a bunch of stuff across here. Only players who supported Kemval in the storyline with Zash and came down and made the decision to support Kemval were able to recruit him during the Osa storyline. Otherwise, you weren't able to recruit him because choices matter. And again, here's another one of those situations where everything was diverging and it messed up. It was messed up. So in theory, that's now consistent with what the choice should have been. But man, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. There's a scene in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie gets a job in the mailroom, and he's trying to track down where this mail is going. Here, let me bring up this image for you. Let me.
They're on to me, dude. Those guys are.
I don't need to play the video. I just want the image here. So, well, this isn't a great view of the image, but he starts trying to find this guy Pepe Silvia, and he's got like all this mail from people, interoffice mail, like tacked up on the wall, and he's got like the yarn and the markers like from point to point to point to try to figure out who's connected to who, so he can track down this mail that's supposed to go to Pepe Silvia, which he's convinced does not exist. Now, Pepe Silvia actually did completely exist, but that whole mess of, you know, the yarn and the points and trying to track what everything connects to who and what and where all the branching diverges. I can only imagine there's some room at BioWare right now that looks like this. And every time they need to do something or figure out who's what's where, what emperor belongs to who, and what decision could or couldn't have been made, it's this kind of mess all over some wall somewhere, and they have to like trace it back and figure out what's going on. That's the only thing I can
Or
imagine.
it's in somebody's head.
Which would be the worst possible case. So yeah, that kind of thing is getting fixed. Hopefully, you know, there might be some way to unify that, to simplify for them a little bit, but it's a lot of work for them. Hopefully people are feeling the value and respecting the fact that, you know, I could look at it from that perspective too, respecting the fact that they tried to make this commitment to choices that matter. And
right.
I know they've gotten a lot of criticism for it over the years, but look at the state it's in, and look at how your choices are mattering compared to other people, and how your story and your universe might be completely different now. I'm only, you know, I tend to look at it from the development perspective, and it's just imagining the complexity of how you can move forward from here. But you got to give them credit for going this far. And if anyone sort of tries to be critical about choices mattering or not, I don't see how they can, because it's obvious that those choices do matter.
Yeah.
So, couple other fixes in here for things like Galactic Starfighter now progressing the weekly event Galactic Starfighter mission, which was one of those timed weeklies. So if Galactic Starfighter was the timed weekly, you weren't getting credit when you were doing Galactic Starfighter matches. So basically, it was very difficult to get that done. That's fixed. That's good. That was very annoying to people that were doing that.
I can't even imagine like doing GSF and then not even getting credit. Oh my God.
Credit for it. Seema would rage quit so hard. Asteroids would just spontaneously explode inside the GSF maps.
It's more like I would just go in the corner and cry.
Here's a whole bunch of more of these story fixes, these choices that matter fixes. Cleo no longer shows available for people who banished her. Theron Shan will no longer show as available for players who exiled or killed him. Theron Shan's status will no longer change after completing the Orsa storyline. Yada yada yada. The players who romanced. Koth will now blah blah blah. I can only imagine. Here's one I liked. Couple further down. We get it, Paxton. It isn't your finest hour. Please stop saying it so much. We've corrected an issue where Paxton fires his same voice line in all situations. It's not annoying when he said it. He doesn't say it in a really annoying voice, at least. But he did say it like every single time, and I was sort of looking askance at him out the corner of my eye. Because every time you summon him, every time he healed, you'd go, "Oh, well, that wasn't my finest hour." I'm like, I don't know. I mean, you healed me. I mean, it's fine. So I liked that.
That is a highlight.
Um, oh, and here's another great one that we definitely noticed got fixed today. Players can once again share Heroic 2 and weekly missions. So MFN, when somebody picked up the complete TFB weekly mission, and we could share it out to the group and everybody could get it. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So I'm glad that got
Because what we
fixed.
had been doing is summoning everyone to the terminal, the mission terminal.
Yep. Right. Yeah, we'd do a double summon. Right, exactly. We'd summon you to the mission terminal so everybody could manually pick it up themselves. And then we'd summon everybody to the entrance to the operation. Or if we were doing Group Finder, then we would queue up at that point. But it was a pain. I liked this one also. This one you already mentioned. The rubble piles and ancient Jedi vessels will no longer become uninteractable in some situations in some situations. You made this point earlier. Some situations during collected history, which were like 99% of the situations.
Well, I mean, like you, as soon as I heard there was a problem, I just never did that quest.
Yeah.
But I heard people all day long in general saying, okay, they're working on instance 3 or one of them is working on instance 5.
Right. There was a little bit of crowdsourcing to try to figure out where it might possibly work. I did complete it on Sunday on that new DVL mercenary that I mentioned because I happened to go there because I needed to get 10 missions in. I happened to go there to burn the books and noticed that 2 of like the 5 possible areas were working and I had to wait for them to respawn and I did get it done. Now hopefully, and it sounds like they're all working, so that's going to be great. Colossus droid on Iokath apparently was not giving full kill credit. There was also a question about, so it wasn't in the patch notes specifically, I don't think, but there's at least a few situations where people would still not get credit for killing the world bosses on Osis. One in particular for the bug boss, where if anyone either resurrected locally or especially if you went back to the flight point and then ran back, where the boss would bug out and no one in the group would get credit. That happened multiple times to me over the course of the past couple weeks. I think it was probably something like you get a lot of the ads and you get the boss that's doing random targeting of effects, and if you're outside if you're outside that area where you're fighting the bug boss up above, it's sort of in an evade situation, and the boss wouldn't evade, but I think it would then cancel out all credit as if the boss evaded, and that's why nobody was getting credit for that. I think that was in one of Eric's follow-up notes. We can double check that. I believe he said it should be fixed. It's not confirmed in his view just exactly yet, but he's going to double check. They did do work on that, and most of those situations should be fixed. Anything where you're not getting credit either for the robot boss or the bug boss when you're doing the world bosses, which is important because a lot of people are doing those a lot of times over the course of these weeks where we're trying to get those masterwork data crystals. So let's take a quick glance through anything else that came to mind from your perspective, Seema.
Wow, we talked about each little thing. But yeah, I mean, for me, I got one piece of gear because I got implants and relics from those boxes.
Yeah.
For the last couple of weeks, I got one piece of gear. I have no 258 gear, so I got one piece of 252 gear, and I haven't equipped it. I got it over the weekend, so I did not have the set bonus problem. And I don't. Was it only on 258 gear?
No, 252 or 258
Okay.
won't mix with 248 and below. They'll mix with each other, but not with 248 and below. And now they don't mix with anything because the set bonus has sort of disappeared.
Yeah, so I won't have that, and I haven't run into the companion problem yet, but I haven't logged everybody in yet, so I'm kind of afraid to. But yeah.
There was a question here that came up in the dev tracker on Darth Hexid. There was the situation where you might have lost Darth Hexid. There was a conflict between Pex and Rawl and Darth Hexid and the way you could get each of them. In theory, that's fixed. If you expected to get Hexid back and Hexid is not back, double check your alliance alerts and look at your mission log. The alert may have automatically been
Yes.
placed in your mission log, and that may be the way you need to get Hexed back.
Yeah, that's a problem that I will never have because you know how you create a new character and you have like 42 mails waiting for you?
Yep.
I just click on everything that can be clicked because of inventory. I don't want to store stuff. So what that means is Darth Hexed, Shea Vizsla, Paxton I never do the alerts.
I've done each of them once, and then never never again on any other character,
Yeah.
because why do I need to do it? You know, they're not, none of them are all
I mean,
that
I had the
compelling.
intention of doing them once, but so easy to click on the item and then the item disappears and you get that slot back in your inventory.
Now, I do not click on the mails. So here I've got this commando, which I've had for years. He's got
Yeah, see
49
that kind
mails. My oldest
ugh,
mail
it
on
drives
this
me.
companion is 1,266 days old.
Okay, I did not know that. I probably, oh my gosh, it's kind of a bad thing because I didn't know that was an option, but now that I do,
So all that stuff that could be sitting in my bank, like here, Nico Okar's blasters, I haven't even taken it out of the mail, and it's been sitting there for 1,200 days. I can just leave it in here, and it's stored now permanently in my mailbox, and I don't need to put it in my bank. That's why I do that. HK55. Like,
that's why we can't have sort because people like you have too much stuff in their mail.
oh, you want to hear a funny sort story? They
Yeah.
added they added the log, right, to the new guild interface, general tab. There's a log. It's sorted by, you can sort by the date field. The sort by date field is sorted by ASCII alphabetical. So
Yes.
so uh, so 12. Oh, maybe they fixed it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It looks better.
No, it's still broken. Look, it goes 12 to 1. Because 12, they're taking 12 as the highest. And so yeah, no, it's not in date order. It goes January
But mine is,
2019, February 2019, December of 2018 is,
oh, right. Yeah.
and then reverse
Yeah.
order they go
Yeah.
December of 20
Right.
December,
That's
February,
crazy.
January. This December of 2018, and then
Crazy.
it skips to February, and then it goes to January.
But that's crazy because the that exact same thing was on the GTN for like 2 years.
It's
So
I don't know what the data storage they're using, but even if it's NoSQL or whatever kind of data lake that they've got this stuff dumped into, sort exists. Sort algorithms, indexing is a feature of almost any NoSQL or SQL or structured data storage, and you don't sort alphabetically on a date field. You sort by date order. It's just
yeah,
I I
yeah.
don't I don't know. I
But
don't know.
yeah,
How
I
does
mean,
this
I guess it's
go?
not exactly the same because the GTN was actual numeric fields that were sorted, that were alpha sorted.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
so it was, at least with date, I guess it could be a little confusing. But I I, I mean, I guess with the date, it's possible that they don't have date order as an option, but seems unlikely.
yeah. I yeah. Maybe they hand coded their database and didn't implement that as a feature yet, because that's what we would do in 2019 is we would hand code databases.
Well, I mean, they started in they started this stuff in 2008 though. Well, even in 2008 when hand code. Anyway,
Yeah,
never
even
mind.
in 1980, you,
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
Even if you had a really big hairdo,
data sort
you
orders
wouldn't.
were pretty well understood back then. Um, anyway, so bunch of stuff is in. We got the update. We got a lair boss. We've got some new content. We've got stuff we can work towards. We've got progression that we can be going after. We've got new weapons, 258 weapons we can be getting. So there is good stuff going on here. It was crazy that we got a few major things that just seem sort of broken. I really love to hear sort of the story behind the complexity of what they're dealing with, which causes these things to end up getting broken. That would just be cool to hear from a developer and a technology perspective, because that's a world that I've lived in most of my career. But I can understand why they wouldn't want to pull back the curtain on that as well. It's, it can be messy and complex, and there could be reasons for it, but often that's very difficult and tough to explain the story of how over the last 8 years of development and of this, you got to that point, because it's easy to come in after the fact or to look at it from the outside. And this happens like in consulting all the time. The new consultants come in and say, "Oh, this is trash. These guys were idiots." Well, you can say that now after the fact, but if you had been there at the beginning and been down
Right.
this roadmap and the decisions and the trade-offs
Right.
that had to be made, there were reasons that this happened, and the choice would have been, yes, do it this slightly broken way, or don't do it at all and we all go home and there
Right.
never is a game. Okay. All right. So I'll give them the benefit of the
Yeah.
doubt from that perspective, but I'd still like to hear the story behind the scenes of what's going on there.
I think it would be fascinating.
Yeah. And they'll fix it. They, hopefully they'll just fix it quick. I know we're chomping at the bit for these things to be fixed. They're putting a fix in tomorrow morning already. That's bold on their part. I hope that doesn't break other things. But it'd be nice to have those set bonuses fixed. The whole companion thing not being fixed yet, and that being a bigger issue, that's going to be difficult.
I might just
That's
stay
gonna be
in bed tomorrow.
a tough thing to swallow for a lot of people. But there's that kind of that, it might be a bigger problem, and it might be something they didn't expect and not have an easy fix. So we don't want to roll back and wipe all of everything that you did today. That would be even worse, and have the servers be down for a week while they work it out. But you might have to live without your favorite companion at Influence 50 for a little while. Hopefully it's not
Yeah.
too long. Any other final closing comments, Seema? We good?
I'm looking forward to double XP, double CXP.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I'm looking forward to that too. I think I'll hopefully then get my Marauder to command rank 300, because I'll be pretty
Yeah,
close
that's
there.
what I'm hoping for my scoundrel / agent. That's the one I haven't finished yet.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Well, I think with that, our EPC 279 droid here can get kicked out an airlock to broadcast this podcast to all of you. Please keep up with us on Twitter at MaxTheGrand at AIESEMA if you'd like to hear more of our thoughts on patches as they become available. And if you know any cool people,
If you're not sick of our thoughts already.
yes, we laid a whole bunch of thoughts on you tonight. And if you know any cool people that should be playing with us, tell them to check us out on the podcast, on YouTube, on Twitch, usually Tuesdays, sometimes Thursday nights on twitch.tv/newoverlords. Or they can come find us on Starforge. And our guild website is aie-guild.org, which gets you to our guild Discord. You can jump in Discord and you can say, I have a character, Republic side or Imperial side, and I want to get in, and I want to do mandatory fun night and be part of conquest objectives. And you guys are doing medium or large conquest on Republic and Imperial week to week, and I want to be part of that. We want you to be part of it too. So come check us out. Come get in there. Come get an AIE guild fight, because we would love to have you. And you know what? We'll talk to you soon.
Yo, later, everyone.
Yo, later, everyone.